going on, guys? Had a quick little switch up to do for this week. I was scheduled to do DDM's interview today, but due to unforeseen circumstances, we'll have to reschedule for tomorrow. So the town hall that was supposed to be for tomorrow will be for tonight. Of course, I'm your host, Score Swayze. Another episode of Inside the Rapper Studio. Episode 45, Town Hall Special, in regards to the most recent riots and breakouts of violence due to police brutality. Basically, we're just going to be talking about, well, it's going to be a Town Hall Special. So how's it's going to work is essentially you guys will be in the chat. If you guys want to say something, chime in. Just send a request. We'll talk for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll just do a little loop-de-loop for everybody else. Hopefully everybody's having a solid Friday. Huge shouts out to Justice for stopping in. So, instead of the DDM interview, we're going to do the Town Hall episode special tonight, which is essentially now. So, basically, how it will work is that if anybody has to chime in about what's been going on recently with the recent breakouts of riots and violence due to police brutality and just racial discrimination altogether. You just chime in, send a request to be on live, talk for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then, we'll discuss what's going on and get your thoughts and opinions and just emotions about the whole thing. So, since you're live, Just, we might as well start with you. Go ahead and send this little request. What's going on, Russ? Hopefully you heard the whole spiel about how tonight's gonna go. It's very different from usual. You hear me?
You
Going on for everyone.
like 2 seconds.
This is episode 45 of the Rapper Studio. Of course, I'm your host, Score Swayze, and tonight's gonna be a little different. Usually, we do interviews one-on-one with certain artists or anybody within the industry within Baltimore City. But it's going to be a town hall special. So essentially, I'll have somebody on for 5 to 10 minutes at a time to express their feelings, thoughts, emotions about the violence, riots due to brutality across the United States, such as George Floyd, and countless others. So, first of all, I'd like to introduce the person at my bottom. He was on the show earlier, the editor-in-chief of Take. Everybody, please welcome him. Right? Thank you for joining us today on this very special. First, I would like to ask, how do you feel about the pretty much of riots?
What are you saying?
How is that, like, your overall thoughts and opinions of the riots that has been breaking out as of late due to police brutality?
I attended the protests on, what day was that? Monday or Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's good to see everybody coming together for a cause that they believe in.
Right.
I don't believe in telling people, oh, you're gonna protest, you gotta do it peacefully. Oh, you're gonna do this, you can't riot, you can't loot. This has been going on for so long. Anybody is in no position to tell anybody how to convey their anger, and that's the least. Looting a target is the least of a problem compared to the systematic oppression that's been going on with Black people for years on years on years. So don't tell any Black person how to feel. I'm just happy to see everybody coming together for a cause they believe in.
Absolutely. So for the ones that's usually against the riots or against the violence, against the destruction of property, I feel like that's been a huge argument against the riots. How do you feel about people kind of somewhat equalizing the destruction of property in regards to the destruction of?
To me, it feels like the same thing when people equate kneeling to disrespecting the flag, or my grandfather fought in the war. I'm just like, bro, you're missing the whole point. Then you're missing the whole point. We're in the midst of like an economic depression. People are at home. They're not working. They're unemployed. You continuously murder black people. Like, I hope people don't just take this as a George Floyd thing. This is George Floyd. This is Ahmaud Arbery. This is Breonna Taylor. This is Tony McDade. This is Sean Reed, and countless amount of others. I'm like, people are fed up. So what do you want them to do? You're not giving them any resources. You're not fixing, the police system in this country. You're not even fixing the prison system in this country. I'm like, looting a Target is the least of anybody's problems, bro. Like, this is so much bigger than, oh, they robbed this Target, oh, they set this on fire. It's been going on for too long. What do you tell people to do? I saw a video, it was Tupac, and it was like a homeless man. He was like, if a homeless man asks you, like, you're in a hotel, I think it's like, he painted it as a ballroom on the first floor and a homeless man sitting outside. And he asks you for some food, and you tell him no. He asks you again for some food, respectfully, and you tell him no. After so many times you tell this man no, and he sees you eating, he gonna get mad. It's the same thing. We're asking you peacefully, yo, can you stop shooting us? Yo, can you stop killing us? Yo, can you fix the prison system? There's an article of like, what's the bitch ass governor's name? Larry Hogan. And it's like, yo, he just put like millions of dollars into like a juvenile facility a couple years ago. I'm like, bro, there are juveniles that are homeless. There are juveniles that are starving. And that's how you want to fix the problem. The problem isn't juveniles doing crime. The problem is juveniles having no resources to not want to do crime. So I'm not here for the looting discussion. I don't want to hear it.
Absolutely. The one take that I would have to ask you from a journalist's perspective, how is it reporting on these incidents, reporting on these riots and breakouts from not just the African Americans perspective, but also from a black journalist perspective. Whereas though a lot of the times they would just read that list, they would just read that script that's directed to them. Whereas though you have complete free will to report what's going on
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. So how would you respond to what the comparison between the two?
So as a person with I went to school for journalism, but the person that has expertise in that field went to school for this. I will say that I can only imagine that I control my platform. So if I don't want to be objective with this, I don't have to be objective with this. But I know that a lot of people when they go to school, that's one of the things they teach you. You have to remain objective. Like, you can't lean towards this way. You can't lean towards that way. Like, you got to straight the middle. And as a black journalist, I feel like now would be the time to be like, make your voice heard. You don't have to be objective if you can afford to not be. Like, it's going to be hard to remain objective when you see people just like you getting murdered in the street and nothing is getting done. So I can see how it'd be difficult, but I would encourage people if they can like speak up and not be objective. But these newsrooms, bro, like they probably look like my classrooms, 90% white. So like they're not going to get it. You might not be able to tell the story you want to say it, and that's sad.
That's very true.
It's like
But
people at work. Like, people are showing up to work from home, work in the office, and they come into work this week, and their white counterparts like nothing happened, and black people are like, nah, like that's actually traumatizing.
it directly affects us.
Yes.
All right. So, last question, Justice. We were talking about how like the newsroom was 90% white, and not on top of that, we have corporate media, which is like 90% of the media that we consume through TV, through Twitter, through social media, that pretty much paint a certain picture rather than what's being displayed on social media, on Twitter, on IG. How do you respond to pretty much like the backwards reporting that's been going on?
So people gotta understand, like, 6 men in America, 6 white men in America control all media. Like, I forget the exact names, but you go look it up. There's a big Venn diagram of like, these news corporations control this, and this controls that. It's kind of like how, like, imagine Foot Locker and Foot Action and all that shit's the same thing. Like, when you see Fox, there are like 50 other Fox News brands. They're all the same. Fox, Disney, and some other ones. So like, if you allow 6 white men to control the narrative and black people getting murdered, they're going to flip that. That's why you got to be careful when, you see things going out in the streets, because how it's going to be portrayed by media. We don't control any media, bro.
That's very
Like,
true.
George Floyd was on his funeral the other day, And people are like, yo, why isn't that on BET? Like, do you know a white man owns BET?
Plain and simple, just
Black
ownership.
entertainment television is owned by a white man. You gotta be able to see that play. So like they're going to control the narrative. That's why I encourage everybody to speak up, speak up, speak up. Like you have a platform, you have a Twitter, you have a platform, you have an Instagram, you have a platform, you got a Snapchat, you got a platform. Please help us control the narrative because there are literally 6 white men running media corporations around the world. We gotta play our part. You gotta speak up.
Absolutely, very true. Thank you very much, Justice. Any last
Thank
words
you.
that
I
you?
wasn't expecting to be on here. I was looking homeless like 2 minutes ago. I probably still look homeless. So I appreciate you having me on here, bro. I was just going to tune in and see what you got to say. I like hearing you talk your shit.
I appreciate that, but me personally, I'd rather leave this platform to the viewers that come in every day faithfully, so they can have their voice heard, rather than just having me talk for like 45 minutes. I feel like this is more so for you guys, way more than it is for me. So
I'm
I
here for people.
that.
I just wanted to, hear you talk your shit and see what club robe you're going to wear today.
I mean,
I ain't never seen
still
it before.
it's still hot as shit, man. I had to wear something light, so now I got the auntie that's waiting for waiting,
Oh, man.
yeah, that's waiting for a nightcap uh, robe on. So that this will have to work, honestly. But yeah,
Hey, yo.
thanks again, Justice. I really appreciate it, man.
Already.
All right. So, for those just walking in, this is episode 45 of Inside the Rapper Studio. Of course, I'm your host, Score Swayze. Today is going to be a very special episode of Inside the Rapper Studio due to the recent breakouts of violence, recent breakouts of riots all across the country due to police brutality and things of that nature. Pretty much what we're going to be doing is just having a town hall special, just having everybody join live, say your thoughts, say your opinions, express yourself about what's been going on as of late. Because I feel as though with a platform like this, where you guys come in each and every day, I feel as though I have a not just a duty but an obligation to give you guys this platform to speak your minds about what's been going on. So up next, we're gonna have Peace Russie join us, talking about the riots and pretty much his perspective of the riot from the from a perspective of somebody that even works the medical field. So once he pops up, I don't
I'm
see anything.
I'm here, bro. I see you. What's up?
It says connecting, but I don't see you. So hopefully it won't be one of those type of lives. Uh, Give me 1 second. Hopefully we can rejoin this. And
Can you see me now?
nah, it's still saying connecting. Oh boy. All right. Tell you
Take
what.
a commercial break, man. 'Cause, I can see you and I can hear you. So just,
It's all good. So what I'll do, I'll just come right back to you. I'll have somebody else join the live, see who we are with. Hopefully we can get a word from Tictionary. Hopefully she can jump in, give some thoughts, give some opinions about what's been going on as of late with the recent outbreaks of riots and violence and things of that nature. It says waiting, but I hope it's not one of those situations where like, I don't want to talk. But I mean, if you don't want to, that's fine. Just let me know, or just send me a quick little message. Hey, I just want to watch. That'll be fine. I guess I would have to give my opinion if that was the case. Quite frankly, it's an old quote that Malcolm X said once upon a time. It's all the chickens coming home to roost. We've been seeing what's going on. I still can't see you, Russ.
fuck, man.
Sweat it. Don't even sweat it. I'll probably take like a quick commercial break in like 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll just jump right back into it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really just chickens coming home to roost. This has been going on for so much, and quite frankly, as a black man that lives in America, I am incredibly jaded to indiscrimination. It happens literally all the time, and whenever it does happen, it's more so it's like, this is the rules that we play by. You know what I mean? The game is rigged, but you got to play along. And in my opinion, quite frankly, um, everybody's so confused about how to play this game, pretty much how the strings are being pulled and things of that nature. I mean, you see what works and see what people work for. It's all capital. It's all money. The fact that people are being like shipped in legitimately through these protests just to go like work, just to be in the prison industrial complex for like years on end, just off of free labor. It's literally just the return of slavery. You know what I mean? Just bringing everybody back into those big plantation houses and having them work for like scraps. And a lot of companies do these things, such as like GE, such as Nintendo, such as a few other companies, such as General Motors. Like it's all about the money. So, in my opinion, it's just that it has an ugly face of racism, but the body that controls it is just complete capital money, just capitalism. So, that's my small take on it. I'm gonna see if we can do this again, Russ. If not, we'll just have to jump back into someone else. Um,
How about now?
all right, thank the Lord. So,
Word.
episode 45 of Inside the Rapper Studio. This is the Town Hall special. Basically, we're just going to be talking about the recent outbreaks of riots and violence due to police brutality over the past week or so. Joining
Yeah.
us today, right now, in these next 5 or 10 minutes, is a guy that's been on the show this week. Everybody, give it up for Uncle Russie.
Yo, what up? What it do, baby?
So, Russie, I wanted to get your thoughts, your opinions on the recent outbreaks of riots.
Yeah. It's kind of tough. It's kind of touch. It's kind of tough to watch, bro. Because I mean, this is like 5 years. It's literally 5 years removed from the Baltimore uprising. 5 years later, it's the same old shit. I mean, and this was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back again. I mean, if it ain't already broken, the shit is crippled now. It's a clear indication that the system is broken and that you know people people can't take this shit no more, yo. I just I work out in DC and I work out in Georgetown Hospital and they did their best part to I guess proclaim solidarity. We did there's a whole hashtag online now on white coats for Black Lives. And so the majority of the hospital around 1 o'clock we all went outside and we all took a knee for approximately 10 minutes, just to kind of show our respect. So, different hospitals all over the country have showed solidarity. Johns Hopkins of all of all institutions, as if Henrietta Lacks is not a fucking thing, or just them, in the past requesting private security and them just being racist as fucking general. I mean, that's just, it's a mess. But I mean, it's kind of tough to watch because like CNN is on 24 hours a day where I work at, and like previously where I lived at, like walking out the door, you see something else fucked up with this country. You see what else is fucked up with this president. You see something fucked up with the policies and the lawmakers just giving a blind eye to this shit, man. Like it's truly a dark day in democracy. A quote from fucking Washington Post, who happens to be, owned by the richest man in the fucking world, who, compared to Virgil Abloh, is like giving like, micro virgins to like the community and shit, and like he cut like the I want to say the sister paper that like the free like how Baltimore had like the city paper, like he cut like 1,000 people's jobs for like free Washington Post newspapers, stuff like that. And like there were so many different people that like were freelancers for years.
Right.
Like they found out maybe like from like six, like I've catched the train, I've commuted every day, and like you see people put smiles on people's faces, you see them featured in the newspaper for giving people positivity early in the morning, and by the end of the day, if not even like in the middle of them finishing their route, they don't have a job. How the fuck do you go home and tell your family, your friends that, I mean, a lot of these folks were homeless, or, vets that were done homeless, I mean, how do you deal with that kind of shit when, the country that you live in and the corporation that you work for can just cut you like that,
That's
crazy.
I wanted to talk to you from your perspective, being as though you're a guy that works in the medical field, and I want
Yeah.
to see how these type of attacks, how these type of breakouts and violence of riots due to police brutality, how do they affect the medical field?
Well, fortunately, where I work at is not as prevalent, not as obvious. We're not like a trauma hospital. We're not like you know, we're we're kind of building back up to capacity in terms of proper medical care. You know, we still got COVID going on. I work in surgery now, so like anesthesiologists, things like that. Just same day surgery. A lot of folks, you know, I mean, life has to go on, unfortunately, for a lot of folks, but there's still people that have to consider, shit. I gotta, walk through this neighborhood where they're protesting, blocks away, because 8th Street is not too far away, ground zero for the Washington protests and all that.
Right.
Um, it's not as, I mean, like I said, we showed, or the medical, the healthcare system, MedStar specifically, they've made their attempt to show solidarity for corruption and police brutality and all this stuff. And today is Breonna Taylor's birthday. Let's not forget at all. It's a tragic thing. She would be 27 years old. I work with folks that are much younger, and they're just as pissed off as anyone.
Right.
The system I work in, fortunately, I haven't seen any empathy or lack of empathy. I mean, it's generally, the workforce is generally black as far as support work, as far as service work, things like that, and we generally have a modest amount of a modest morale. So I mean, anything that would have been dark or as far as malpractice and things like that. I mean, that's clearly not the case where I'm at. I mean, I can't say the same for anyone else, but the work has been done, on a public relations scale over the last 5 years that I've been there to, be inclusive, to be more compassionate. They give out resources for folks who may be struggling from the grief, and they call it hospital fatigue, because there's, in addition to COVID, you got cancer patients, you've got people that are terminally ill, and a lot of that is considered where I work at, and there's a lot of resources that have been given. So I mean, the morale is pretty much in the middle, because I mean, there's clearly a air of confusion and frustration, and people are tired, man. People are upset, but so far it's been a positive response in regards to that.
That's good. Last question, Russ. I wanted to ask you about the recent injuries that protesters have been receiving due to like pretty much just straight up military force within the police force. A lot of people come out with like lost eyes, broken ribs, bruised bodies, and just things like that. And when you guys have to take these people in and show them some type of medical support, I wanted to know from the medical staff's perspective, how does it feel taking all that in?
I mean, like I said, it's kind of it's been moral support, but it has been kind of exhausting, because like we've got these protests, we've got people being injured, like you said, people being subjected to wartime, like almost like wartime situations, to where you want to personally protest, and there's antagonizers making it worse, so you're bound to get hit by this police. And there's been reports that a lot of these folks aren't even being identified as either police or military. So there, I mean, overall there's a lot of fatigue, but there's a lot of resilience with the doctors that I work with, the nurses, the techs. I mean, from the bottom, the bottom floor to the corner office, there's been at least, for optics sake, there's been like you know visible action being taken, and more support for folks that are on the ground. There hasn't been any bias or anything, subliminal or anything like that. I mean, we take in everybody, and we have a saying of it's, it's a Jesuit institution, so they reflect the principles of the Bible and Christianity and things like that, and our mission statement is a cura personalis, so care for the whole person. So, and we do modules online every year that highlight different things in regards to gender, in regards to race, in regards to conflict resolution, in regards to bedside manner for people who may who may not trust the medical system. Because to be honest, I mean who would? All the horror stories you hear. I mean, but my system has done the work to kind of educate all of us. And again, it's a mixed population, and a lot of the patients come back for their treatments. They follow up, and they know us, if not by name, by face. So it's always a good thing. And then it's always a good feeling to try to comfort them and meet them at eye level, so that they're not being treated as like a number or a medical record or just like a body. You know what I mean? As far as I know, we haven't got anybody too recently in regards to the protests. Because I mean, I think the closest hospital on that end would probably be George Washington University or something like that. But like but even still, we're about 20 minutes away, and I've seen nothing but support. I've seen nothing but respect for those that are on the ground. I've seen a lot of positive um, response and a lot of solidarity. I can't stress that enough, because we're all in this together in some way. You know, we all play our part, and you know, it is a important fight for all of us, most especially Black people, most especially Black trans people, most especially people who risk their lives. I mean, because I mean, there's no end game for this thing, man. I mean, this is lifelong, and then on top of the looming shadow that is COVID-19 or whatever pandemic phenomena that we're dealing with. I mean, we've done the work, we've put feet in the ground, and we've done the very much we can do.
That's very true. Well, Rusty, thank you very much for all of your thoughts, opinions, and perspective on this whole spiel.
Thank you for doing this, man. Thank you so much for doing this and finding this platform.
Don't sweat it. I feel like it's my obligation to give you guys something to talk about, especially when it comes to situations like these. Where it's not just not just not just rap. This is actually things that's real that we step outside of our comfort zone with. It's something that we have to live with. So I do appreciate you for giving all your thoughts and opinions on this. Thank you, Rusty.
Thanks so much, man.
Don't sweat it. All right. For guys that's just rolling in, this is episode 45 of Inside the Rapper's Studio. We're covering essentially a town hall special where we discuss all the things that's been going on with recent breakouts of violence and riots due to police brutality. If you guys want to chime in, just send a request to the live. We can just ship you right in, say your thoughts, say your piece, give your perspective on it from whatever walk of life that you come with. I got a request right now. We're going to go with Tiftionary. We're going to be talking about pretty much the perspective of what's been going on. For folks that do not know, this is a great friend of mine, known since high school. Everybody, please give it up for Tiftionary.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. Just another day that we're walking on this earth. Once again, thank you very much for joining me and giving your perspective on it. Could you tell us your emotions, your thoughts, your opinions on the recent outbreaks of violence and riots due to police brutality?
Well, obviously it's overwhelming to say the least. To and I think that now with the age of technology and social media being so heavy, we're obviously being able to see violence that we will only be described. So having it described to you is one thing, and of course that enrages you. But then seeing it with your own eyes is like, like what what the hell, like.
Right.
And it's, in some ways it kind of makes you want to back away from it because it becomes to be too much, but you have to sit in that uncomfortability, so it pushes you for change. Because I mean, if we're not going to change right now, when else are we going to do it? I mean, 2020 seems like what we doing this year. Seems like that's what's happening. So I feel like uh I'm overwhelmed, but I'm enraged. I'm fired up. Um, I'm ready to help any way possible. But in the same instance, I also feel ill-equipped. If that makes any sense. I don't know if anyone else is feeling this, but I feel like I'm not prepared. But how do you be prepared for a revolution? There's no real way. So I've been uh, for myself, just working on like educating myself, working on figuring out ways that I can help in my lane, because everybody's lane uh, is not looting, it's not rioting, it's not protesting, it's not like face to face protesting. Everybody has their lane in this revolution, so you have to figure out what that lane is.
That's,
Um,
uh, that's very true. Very interesting perspective to even have on it. I wanted to get your side of the story, not side of the story, but essentially viewpoint from these outbreaks of violence and riots from the black woman's perspective, because a lot of the times you will see online that some people feel as though the movement kind of leans towards the face of black men or the face of straight people or things of that nature. I wanted to see your side of this debate or debacle, so to speak.
well, I feel like this has been an ongoing debate in any issue that we have. I once had a philosophy teacher call it the struggle Olympics. So you're basically, I'm comparing like, okay, well, like we need justice for all black people. And then you're like, yeah, but what about black women? What about trans people? What about this? What about that? And I'm not saying that all of these are not important. I'm saying that it's divisive at this time to isolate each one of these. I'm saying that we should cover them all. All of these should be inclusive. All of these should be part of our discussion, part of our concerns at the moment. So Tony McDade, he shouldn't be a what if. Like, he shouldn't be excluded from the topic of conversation when he was just as relevant as everybody else. That shouldn't be something that we should worry about. Breonna Taylor, that shouldn't be an afterthought. She shouldn't be an afterthought. She should be right up there in the conversation. You should be just as enraged. But I do feel like these are people that have been left out of the conversation for so long, because it's like, oh, but we're not talking about that right now.
Right.
Uh, we're just talking about this. But I feel like it should. I feel like it almost goes without saying that they're included. Well,
Absolutely.
it should.
So, last thing I wanted to talk to you about, you talked about pretty much like the what ifs and what abouts, and pretty much the exclusion of certain people. And it might get a little personal because we've both known her for so long. I wanted to get your perspective on the Corinne Gaines situation, whereas though a lot of the times where like you see the list of black people or list of black women,
And they leave Corinne out.
it will completely omit Corinne Gaines' name
Yeah.
from that. And I want to get your perspective on it because I think it's not just me that sees that.
Yeah. Oh no, it's definitely very evident that they always leave Corinne out of the conversation uh, when they make those lists, and I think part of the reason is because a lot of, like, just from conversation that I've heard, I know a lot of people feel that she may have antagonized the police, but regardless of what the situation was, she did not deserve to die, and she still is part of that conversation. She did not deserve to die. Her child did not deserve to get harmed in that interaction. They've taken down serial killers. You've taken down these people that went in churches and just shot up the whole church, and you've taken them down and taken them to Burger King. But you telling me that this little tiny woman and her child that's who you had to kill. So I agree that I have noticed that she's been left out of a lot of the lists, a lot of the conversations. Um, and I think partly it was because they felt that her topic was too controversial to bring into the conversation. So they're like, that was kind of dicey over there. We're gonna leave her out because it doesn't look as good as these that are easily. They weren't doing anything. They didn't have a gun. They didn't like whatever. And I'm not saying that justifies it. I'm just saying I've noticed that trend as well.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate your I appreciate you chiming in. I appreciate your perspective on the entire situation.
I'm just mad that you didn't even say nothing about me outrobing you over here.
You did outroll me. I have to give the applause for that one. I have a habit of kind of seeing a robe but not noticing it, because most of the time it's always a better robe than mine. So I do appreciate you outrobing me, and I do appreciate your perspective on this whole situation. Thank you very much, Tiffany.
Thank you very much.
Don't sweat it. But yeah, guys, this episode 45 of Inside the Rapper Studio. Of course, I'm your host, Score Swayze. Doing the town hall special, getting the voices and opinions of everyone due to the most recent breakouts of violence and riots due to police brutality. See who else is on. If you guys want to join, I have Graffiti Tech on right now. Hopefully, he'll join us. Give us his thoughts. Give us his perspective on the entire situation. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, cool. So for the ones that don't know, he is a former guest of Inside the Rapper Studio and the official DJ of Swayze TV Live. Everybody, please welcome, drop our shop, like, subscribe, comments for Graffiti Tech. Graffy, thank you very much for joining me today on this special occasion. I wanted to get your perspective and thoughts on the most recent breakouts of violence and riots.
I've been trying to process that for a minute, because it's a lot of information that's going around, and it's a lot of things that I've seen confirmed with other situations, with other uprisings, in that when it comes to the violence and everything, it tends to be the work of some covert police force or something along those lines. So it makes me consider how genuine that is, if that's a part, or if that's an element of a protest, like we saw in Minnesota when it was a protest and then it was looting all night. It's kind of well, if there are people that are instigating that's not a part of that movement, can we consider that violence a part of the movement, So I feel like the protest and everything is genuine, but I feel like it's also a situation that's being manipulated for whatever cause. It's twofold. It's up close, something's real, but then when you step back, you see other hands at play and affecting it. So it's no, police brutality is a very real part of our reality as Black people in the country, as well as racism. But knowing the way the media works and the government's covert actions, it's also how much of it is actually real and not used to just fuck with us.
Right.
So I'm kind of between the two.
You also spoke recently on misinformation flying around, and a lot of that has to deal with those corporate media put things in a spin or put things in a certain jam, whereas though they will have one side being seen where the other side is being completely ignored. Would you accredit that to pretty much the big conglomerate of media and who runs that media?
Absolutely. One thing I learned about media is that media has 4 functions, and part of those functions is manipulation, and it's manipulating a story, and then also influencing how the story is interpreted. So I do think mass media plays a big role in how things are framed. and how things are looked at. But I also think what contributes to that are groups or people with their own agendas to disrupt or to negatively affect a movement. So I think that's a big part of it, but it's that from so many angles.
That's true. Last question. You also spoke on how certain people were there for like other agendas during the riots. Do you feel as though this whole thing has been hijacked and it's almost becoming less about police brutality and more about anarchist views or just straight up breaking and entering, not about like the mistreatment of like black people in this country?
Absolutely. The same way Colin Kaepernick's protest was hijacked and made into being about the flag by the media. That was never the purpose of what he was doing. It's the same thing with this. The purpose was never to be like fuck capitalism, fuck just overthrow everything. It was never anything of that nature. It was simply, we tired of this shit going on. We want justice. This has been going on for so long. We're tired of not being heard. We want y'all to hear us and understand that what we've been saying is true. You've seen it on camera dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Media's really started picking up on those stories and more and more and more. So it's like, yo, we see this all the time. We know this is real. Like, it's good. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely been hijacked, and now it's about Antifa and are they terrorists, and oh my goodness, Trump is trying to fight these people and fight these, whatever. And it's definitely coming from the other side, who are definitely ignoring the purpose of it, and are like, this is making Trump look like a hero to people that like really support him. They're like, oh, he gave us the right to go shoot people. Oh yeah, what I'm saying, the people with their militias and their groups, they looking at it like, oh yeah, he's saying that's my guy. That's why I voted for him. The other side is like, black police brutality. What? No, anti-fascists, billionaires, and Illuminati. Woo, 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 woo. So it's definitely been hijacked. But I think the people have been doing a good job, us, especially from social media in real life, of continuously saying, no, this is about police brutality. This is about police brutality. I feel like we've been doing a good job of trying to steer that in the other direction. But it always gets hijacked and steered away, whether it's by like some type of covert government actions, or if it's like done through media, that's media manipulation, or if it's done through like street gossip, it's always going to get flipped.
Gotcha. Well, thanks again, Graffy, for your thoughts and opinions and viewpoints on the whole violent breakouts. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Sure.
All right. Hopefully, we have time for one more. See if anybody else is left on this, so they can give their thoughts and opinions on this. Hopefully, we can swing it to Brain Food if she doesn't mind. Oh, she left right before I could even get the chance. Uh, yeah, we'll probably wrap it up right here. I really do appreciate everybody that's been coming in. Whether it's 1 minute, 1 second, 1 hour, whether they spoke or not, I really do appreciate all of your views, all of your support. Even for an episode like this, whereas though it's not really centered around music, it's not really centered around rappers or producers. It's centered around real life. It's centered around things that go outside of these four walls of a studio. And it's more than music. It's bigger than hip hop, no pun intended. And it's one of those things that should be talked about within our spaces within music, because at the end of the day, music is a reflection of what's going on outside. Art always imitates life, and life always imitates art. And if for an artist, for a rapper, to not speak on it is not necessarily being an artist, in my opinion. So I do appreciate everybody for giving their opinions on this. Coming up next on Inside the Rapper Studio tomorrow, we're going to have DDM. He was originally scheduled to interview us today, But due to unforeseen circumstances, we had to switch interviews from tomorrow to today and vice versa. So we're going to be talking about his latest project that he just dropped called The Ballad of Omar, the contrast between this project and past projects that he's done, as well as his legacy within the local music scene. So from your host, Score Swayze, once again, guys, thank you very much for joining me on this very special episode of Inside the Rapper Studio. Hopefully everybody can stay home, stay safe, and as usual and as always, stay in the house, wash your hands, and don't talk to the feds. Thank you very much.